Okay, I'm going to try and see if I can do a kit review just with the aid of pausing, because obviously editing is impossible for me. Anyhow, so I'm going to start with my cooking apparatus. Now, my whole cooking apparatus, I don't know if you can see it, I've got you attached to a chair, is here. Now this gadget, I'll show you this in a minute. This gadget here is a Tom shoe. Now this is a recent buy for me. I only got it sort of within the last year really. And the reason I got it is because sometimes, especially if I'm on the move, I can't always decode a fire hole if I haven't got any fuel. And for fuel, I just use nail varnish remover. Now this stove can be used for wood or fuel. It's got different ways that you can set up. It's really versatile actually, because the thing that they give you for the fuel is this. It burns really quick in that. I don't even bother with it. I just use it, I put it in there and I use it to prop up. I use it to prop up this. Now this is what I've used for, well, pretty much since I started this in 2014. It didn't take me long to work out this one. I started doing YouTube clips, searching YouTube clips for means of having a stove with no money. Called the Hobo Stove, can stove. It is in one of my videos about tactical tips. Just look up can stove tactical tips, you'll get one. And it'll explain to you how I put it together and how it works and all that. So I'm not going to go into it here, but basically what I do is, instead of using this little dish for the fuel, I use this, because this will burn it a lot slower and it's more economical. So I'll just pop this into here, and I'll either use the grill over the top and put a small pan on, or if I'm using this pan, my frying pan, I will use a little crisscross grid on top, just because otherwise I'm gonna suffocate the can and put out the fuel. Anyway, so that's the can stove. So I've got 2 pots. That's all I have, just the 2. For ages I just had one. I won't lie, this again was within the last year actually. I bought this the same time I got the Tom shoe. Now the reason I sort of started getting better, sort of picking up my equipment a little bit, is because my mum gave me her bike, so it made moving around a lot easier. Before that I was always just walking with it on my back. I've also got a chair. It's I'm not sure how you pronounce it, Kamui, I don't know. Anyway, Kamui, but you're attached to it at the moment, so I'll show you that in a bit. But basically my chair folds down really small as well, and I'll show you how I pack that. So anyway, I'm going to pause you now, because I'm going to get this tent open. I'm going to try and see if I can get packed up. Hopefully, see, my pause will only last so long, and then it stops. And then it will start a whole new video. I have to do a whole new separate video. So this will either be really successful and I can put it all together just as one, just by the aid of pausing, or unfortunately you might have like just a few takes of it. I'll number them if that's the case, 1, 2, 3 or 4, whatever. All right, let's see if I can give this a go. So managed to get it all out, like I think probably about 2-3 minutes back. Anyway, so the tent is empty now. I'm just going to show you what tent I've got. I'm going to have to unplug my earphones and plug it back in again. So, while I'm on it, let's turn it around so you can get a better sight of it. So, this is the chair. Oh, this is the chair. It goes real small. It's got a little side pocket, which is handy. That was the thing that I had you hanging in. Anyway, so that's the chair. It goes real small, that one. It's very handy. So it's not very expensive either. I got it on Amazon. Most of this kit I've got off Amazon, because I'm lazy like that. So anyway, this is the I think it's a Van Gogh, I'm pretty sure it is, but it's F10 series helium 1. Now, just as a little word of warning, it weren't cheap, it wasn't cheap. However, it was in their mountaineering range, and because obviously I needed it for the winter, I figured it could be worth the extra cost. So, you know, a huge chunk of my savings went on it, but it was a very good buy, very worthwhile. Despite the fact that the material is really flimsy, it will keep you warm. It's kept me warm. Anyway, I'll show you the inside. Although it's small, I mean, I'm only 5 foot, so it's perfect for me. But I can fit like all of my kit, and I'll show you my kit in a sec in here. So here we go. You know, it's fairly bog standard, just a bit of space. But it's sort of, you get like this corner bit here, which is handy because my mat only sort of comes up to about, I don't know if I could show you my hand, about here. So I get all this space for my bag, my water bottle, whatever. And then my big rucksack that goes on the bike goes down the end there, and I use that as a pillow. So that's the tent. Now, obviously, as I mentioned, here's my cooking setup. The bags that they go in, you know. Anyway, and over here is my setup that I put in my bag. Now, let's see if I can do this the other way because the lighting's not great that way. And also, I can't see, it's really hard to see what you're seeing because I can only do this one way. So anyway, I've got 2 sleeping bags. They're supposed to be 4 season, but they were cheap, so let's face it, they're never going to be 4 season. So what I do is I put one inside of the other. That seems to do the job. I've also got this Constantina type sleeping mat. What is it they call it? Thermal, because it's got the silver reflective bit. Oh, I do excuse my thumb. Like I say, I'm no genius with this thing. So yeah, so that's the only matting that I use on the ground. But then I don't mind a bit of discomfort. In fact, if I am too comfortable, I struggle to sleep. So it's a bit mad, I know. Anyway, I was also very lucky that a friend bought me this. Again, a very expensive knife. I think it was about 90 quid. The case, I hate the sheath for it. The sheath is a real letdown. But the knife itself is amazing. So that's the knife. It's a 5160 Ontario knife, USA. I don't know if you'll be able to make that writing out. And it says on the other side. There you go. Anyway, so this is obviously, you know, a lifesaver, more in one way than another. So I'll take good care of that. Anyhow, oh God, I can't get it back in. Right, so that's my knife. Now, this is just my own little luxury in here. Although I'm trying to give up, I do have some smoking apparatus. So I've got an old man pipe, I know, don't laugh. But I do like a bit of pipe tobacco once in a while when I can afford it. Pipe in the morning. So in this bag here is again, didn't come cheap. Now the reason why I invested so much money here and there, God, you can't see anything, can you? Right. So the reason I invested so much money into my stuff is because obviously I am intending, well, you know, straight away I'm living this way. So it was important that I had stuff that was going to do the trick. I mean, when I first left, I had just a normal backpack because, like I say, I was walking, and it was like a hiker's backpack. Bloody useless. The thing fell apart. It was just, it didn't last hardly any time at all. We weren't prepared to take the weight I was going to carry in it. So this is a Black Hawk hydration pack. Now I'm pretty sure that when I got this, it was something like about 200 odd quid, and I got it off of Northfield Market. I tried to find one online, but I was unsuccessful. Although some places advertised it, they were always sold out. Now this is a 50-litre pack, I believe, and it did come with two like Molly packs on the side as well. But to be honest, when it's on the bike, first of all, they're too cumbersome, and also even when I was backpacking, eventually I thought, you know what, I've got to get rid of these. They were just there because this pack, when you've packed it out, it can take a hell of a lot of weight. They're very strong, and the thing I love about them is that they're just so versatile, and the zips are very strong. I mean, it's an amazing bag, and I'm going to show you something. I'm going to have to put you down on the ground a minute so that I can unzip it and show you something. Okay, so this is another reason why I love this bag. Look how that opens up. It's just like a suitcase. The whole thing will just open up. You've got some pockets here, some pockets here. You've got all the straps. By the way, this is another bit of my kit. Again, I only recently acquired this, like literally in the last 6 months. And to be honest, oh, sorry, my thumb again. And to be honest, it does weigh a bit, you know. It weighs quite a bit, actually. Not like a proper shovel, obviously. But it's not light, it is adding to the weight. And I kind of keep thinking, do I really want it? I don't know. You know, but it is handy. If I camp and I'm on dirt or there's a lot of molehills or something, I can use that, and it's got like a little saw bit on it. See if I can show you. So it helps me flatten the ground out. Oh, so hard to do things with one hand. Oh, come on, out you come. Here we go. It's also got, so it's also got like this little pickaxe bit in here. So once I can't do it with one hand and unscrew it all, but I'm sure you can make that out. So this is good for when I need to put poles in the ground, or you know, set something up. This is what I use, and I bash it against the ground and sort of level it out a little bit for me sleeping pad, you know. Here I've got my tarp. God, why can't I say that word? So here I've got my tarp. It's just, you know, your typical tarp. You can get these with all the rods and the guyaney ropes and whatever. I didn't bother. I just bought just that because I can do the rest myself. I'm not worried about that. I've just got a squeezy bottle in there for me water filter. By the way, I've got a Sawyer. I will show you that. Absolutely brilliant. Can't fault them whatsoever. It saves a lot of baggage, what with carrying all the water around all the time. And of course, one thing I didn't mention was my camo netting. So at the moment, I don't need to use my camo netting, obviously, because I'm just being brazen. But if I'm in the woods and I'm going to stop a little while, then I'll put it up, you know. Because first of all, it's good to have a little spot to sit where it's dry, where I haven't got to keep running into the tent every time it rains. So that's that bit. Now you might have noticed I also have a very small, let's get you in the light better, very small drink canister, Combat. Perfect, does the job. This little lid unscrews, and I suppose you could put tea bags or something in there. I did put a biscuit in there, but the heat from a couple of biscuits, but the heat from the coffee made the biscuits go all manky, so I wouldn't advise putting biscuits in there. Maybe a tea bag or two. So anyway, so then there's this bag that I've got. Now the reason I've got this bag is because if I'm pulling up at any shops or anything and I want to leave my bike outside, I'm not going to keep unloading it and carrying it in, and I might only be popping in for a drink, and you know, I don't want to be taking everything, dismantling all my bike and then having to remount it all. So what I do is anything that's important is obviously going to go in this one, and this just sits in my basket, and I hook the strap to the handlebar. So if I am, because I do recycle slow, and if I come across any unsavoury characters and they try to yank it, they're going to have to take me and the entire bike with them. So I can't imagine that being any easy feat. Anyway, so in this bag, you might see that I do have a couple of little items of clothing in here. I've just got a pair of really thin joggers and a top and a scarf. I've got a couple of little bits in there, but the rest of my clothes I just keep in here. This is the bag for my chair. So the rest of my clothes I just wrap in a bag and I keep them in there. That's just because that way they're always handy to me. Because often I'll have my thermals on. Often I will have my thermals on because of the evening, and then in the mornings if I'm moving around and that, you know, I'm still cold at first. But once you start heating up and the sun's up, and I might need to stop and change somewhere. So it's rather than having to wrestle through this to get my stuff out, it's just easier to have it in there, and I can pop in a pub toilet or something, or a public loo, and just get changed like that. Or if there's no one around, I'll just do it outside. I ain't worried. So yeah, what else have I got in this bag actually? Okay, so I've just stuck some rope in there at the moment because that's what I use to tie this to my bike. I've got it's a Tatonka rain cover for a 40 to 55 litre bag, which is perfect because it wraps all over everything when it's on the bike. Apart from that, I think I've got a rag in there. Oh, and I keep all of my toiletries in here at all times. So in here I've got a nail brush, a toothbrush, my deodorant. Funnily enough, I don't keep my wipes in there. I should really. But my wipes are in my saddlebags, and I'll show you them. So anyway, so that's that. Right. Oh, and I keep a journal, and I keep that in there obviously as well, so it's to hand. So let's go and have a look at the saddlebags. Right. So my pots and pans will go in here when I pack them up. I don't put them in my big bag, I put them in here. But in these saddlebags, in this little, I've got a couple of little front flaps. So this one in it, I've got some cotton buds, or pads rather. I've also got some plasters and some pseudo cream, just in case. In here, I always keep a little rag because you never know when rags come in handy. I'll tell you, I always use rags. So there's me chilli for tonight, maybe. In here I've got some eggs. That's where I've got my baby wipes, and I've also got a lemon because if I'm going to pick any salad stuff, it's lovely to be able to squeeze a bit of lemon on that. I've got another Tupperware tub where I've got some cheese and some dried pasta packet, 5-minute job. I always carry tin foil because baked potatoes are so cheap, and if I get the opportunity to get a potato and dig a fire hole, I'm going to do it. So that's that one. Let's take you to the other side. Cool, I've got some tidying up to do after this, I'll tell you. Right, so I do hope no one comes along and moans, eh? Oh, okay, so in this side, it's the same sort of thing. You know, it's both sides are the same. You've got the little bit and the big bit. So in this side, I've got, see if I can move you down a bit. I've got a packet of nachos. I've got some petroleum jelly. That's for my fire making, which I use with the pads. And then I've got some fuel for my can stove. Really cheap. You can go in Poundland and get that for £1. Actually, I got these ones from Savers. It's like a chemistry type place, Savers. Don't know if you know it. But again, they're only £1 in there. I've got this little thing, a hip flask, so that when I do get my hands on a little bit of spiced rum, I can pop it in there. I've got peanut butter. 2 reasons for that. First of all, I can have peanut butter on toast. Second of all, if I find squirrels, they love peanut butter, so I can set a trap with peanut butter. I've got a thing of sugar, and to keep the critters from eating through my bags, you might notice that I've got a couple of holes in places. There's one sort of down here somewhere, and I've got another hole on my lid. So I learnt my lesson, and I invested in hot chili powder. Turns out critters don't like it. I rub it all over the outside of my bags and it keeps them away. I don't have to unless I'm stopping for too long, because they don't tend to turn up if you first arrived. They leave you alone. So anyway, in this little pocket, I've got some soapy stuff. This I can just fill up at different places, you know, like toilets or whatever, you know. And I've got a packet of spare batteries. So that is the entirety of my kit. Oh, I didn't show you that I do have coffee in a... What did I do with my coffee? Huh. Well, I did have coffee. I think I might have packed it away. Anyway, what I do is with my coffee, I buy the cheapest I can, and I mix it in a jar with some coffee whitener. So I've just got one jar if I'm on the road. When I'm situated for a bit, then I'll just buy them and leave them in the pans, what they come in. But if I'm on the move, it reduces the size, you see. So I'll mix it up and put it into one jar. Okay, so now I'm going to try and pause again and see if I can pack this bag. I'm going to pack this bag up and then show you how I'll pack it in there. I don't know if you can see what I'm pointing at. Actually, I can't see what you can see. So I'm going to pack this up, show you how I get set my kit up in there. All right. Hopefully this pause thing is going to keep on working. So you might be able to see I've changed. Of course, it's warming up really well. It's really getting nice and warm. So what I'm doing is I'm going to try and set you so you can see me packing this. But I am going to have to take this earphone out, which means that, well, it's just going to be me packing in it. So I don't know if that's going to be boring or if that's what sort of thing you're interested in. If not, fast forward a bit. All right. Now this is the tent. As you can see, it rolls up quite small, really. It's very small. And I don't bother using the stuff sack for it because the way the stuff sack's designed, this would be rolled up a different way and it would be almost, it doesn't fit in the manner I need it to fit in the bag. It's probably the best way of putting it. So the big poles I've already put in there, like the long poles are already in there. They're on the bottom laid flat. And the pegs I'm going to put in a bag and just stick down the side of my rucksack. But this way it fits into the bag appropriately, so this is why I'm doing it this way. Alright. My ground tarp, I don't think I showed you that because the tent was on top of it. You know, it's only a small little cheap old tarpaulin. The top tarp. pegs. Now obviously, for good reason, I'm always going to pack this in this big bag, never in my little rucksack, because I don't want anyone thinking that, you know, that there's any other reason for this than bushcraft, you know? So that's why it's in here. Good morning. What a beautiful day. So warm already. And that, my friends, is why I've got that bag. Because the zips are awesome. I mean, there are so many rucksacks would not do that. So many backpacks would just like, they'd just fall apart with that when the zips couldn't take it. I'm going to unplug this because I forgot to show you a couple of compartments on my big bag. You might have noticed me speaking to some people as well. The dog walkers are out now. I've got another couple that are going past. But you know what, I've had a few people passing me this morning. Everyone seems really friendly. I even had a car, like a truck thing, 4x4 if you like, go by with a couple of guys in it. They waved at me, you know, so all was cool. Anyway, so in here, right, I've got part of my tent repair kit. I don't know why I didn't put it with the rest of it. It's just I can't remember why anyway. It's just out. The pole thing that you fix the poles with. It's a bit, to be honest, I don't even know why they bothered including it, because the hole for the poles on that tent are so small, slim, the feed that you've got to feed the pole in, that if the pole broke anywhere, you wouldn't be able to get this in the tent. So I'm not quite sure. Sorry, I've got a bug on my hand. So I'm not quite sure how this is going to work. Maybe that's why I took it out. So anyway, that's that. In here, this I strongly advise if you hate mozzies and they are attracted to you. They hate citronella. This is just a little bottle of citronella oil. It comes quite cheap. Well, I say it comes quite cheap. Actually, it's probably about £2 for a bottle, but you really don't need a lot of it. And what I do, you can mix it with like moisturiser if you want, but get a moisturiser that ain't too smelly, because they can be attracted to some of the smells on the moisturiser. So you really want like a plain smelling moisturiser, and then hoof a lot of this in it, so it really smells strong of this. They hate the smell. And but what I do with it is I just sprinkle a little bit over me, and then I use the back of my arms to rub it in, you know, in the important places where I'm exposed. Be careful not to get it in your eyes though, because it will hurt your eyes. I know that from experience. So I've got that. Just in case of emergencies. Morning, beautiful day, eh? It's so warm already. A pushchair? Oh, oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. There's no babies on board. Bless. Yeah, I'll tell you, that chair's brilliant though. It folds up really small. Yeah, it's brilliant. Ideal. See you later. Have a good day. Yeah, just some more dog walkers. See, really friendly. So yeah, so I've got my emergency thread and needle just in case I need it. Now I've got these couple of half-dead batteries as well that I keep, just because my head torch, I like to have fresh batteries in it so it's bright, for when I need it to be bright. But if I need it to be dull, you know, for stealth reasons, then I'll just quickly change the batteries in it. Now, this is the rope for, this is some of the rope, because I use some of the rope to tie my stuff together, but to get it in the bag or on the bike. Now, these ropes are what I use for my tarp when I'm setting my tarp set up. They're really nice and strong, so I like them. So that's that. And then in this bit, oh, this is just a little tin I found. I thought it might come in handy one day. I'm a bit weird like that. So anyway, in this one, oh look, we've got a salt sachet. Oh, whatever. So in here, oh, let me put you down a sec. I can't do it with one hand. Okay, so in here I've just got my snare wire. As I mentioned, that's what I've made my phone holder with. Now, these are all sort of set up. There's quite a few of them there, so all I need to do is just pull a few out and, you know, set up if I need to. When I'm moving around like this, it's really, you know, if I'm only going to be somewhere one night, what is the point? You know, it's a bit difficult to be doing that. You can't really, especially, can you imagine me processing a squirrel here this morning? Had to got me a few frowns. They wouldn't have been so polite then, would they? So this bag, this is the tent bag I was telling you about, that I don't use for the tent. You can see why. Look at the size of it. You know, that makes the tent quite cumbersome. And you see how small I managed to roll that up by not using the method that they advise in here. But what I do is I do keep hold of it, obviously, because you never know when a little bag's going to come in handy, and it's only small in it, it's only thin, just roll it up. This is the bag for my tarp. Again, I don't use that either, because it's just make an extra bulk around the tarp, and I find that the tarp sort of unravels a bit when it's in here, so I don't bother with that. I have got something in here. I'm just going to have a look, see what that is. Ah, yeah, there's some garden gloves in there. Now, the garden gloves are used for digging holes or for processing squirrels, because, you know, it can be a mucky job. So yeah, that's that. I've just got a little holdall for my chair when it folds away in the bag, it can have a little holder if I want, so I can strap it around me. But actually I don't need to, because when that chair folds down and fits into this bag actually fits into my other bag here. So again, if I stop and I just want a little break for a minute and I'm on the side of a road or something, I can just whip my chair out. It takes seconds to put that up, seconds. So yeah, it was a good buy. I think it was about 25 quid, that, something like that. So yeah, oh, and I always carry spare lighters for me stove, and I'm a smoker, so I know I'm trying to quit. So anyway, showed you that bit. Now I'm going to pause again and get the bike set up. All right. So another thing I do, oh, I'm on a slope. So another thing I do when I'm packing up is for my pan that I boil my water in, it's got a little lid, you see. But this lid I use to smother the stove when I'm using the fuel. I pop this on top and it puts it out. So if I'm just stopping to make a bit of pasta or some egg or whatever, if I need to cook something, oh, sorry, I've got a bug on me. So if I need to cook something, it's handy to have this in with this setup. You know, also the can stove is in there as well. Like I say, this is quite a versatile little thing. And it'll just pull string up. I just put a little knot to stop the string coming undone, so I'm a bit fussy like that. Right, so yeah, I just thought I'll show you that bit. Right, so now what I'm going to do is, because most of my kit is out on the floor, I've tried to set the camera up so that it's sort of looking down at my bike a bit, so that you can see roughly what I'm doing. But obviously I'm going to have to take this earpiece out. Okie doke. The chorizo. It's just a block of butter I use to cook with. I've also indulged in some spreadable butter, as I was a little bit flush recently. But usually I would butter my bread and my toast with that. But the problem with that is I do have to melt it first, you know, because this stuff is pretty tough. It's not really spreadable, is it? Just thought I'd let you know why I got it or whatever. I don't know if you can see that. So I think you get the idea there, it all fits in, and in fact because I've been taking some bits out, I've actually got a bit of space in one of them now. So hopefully I can find something. Well, I've got food for tonight and tomorrow, but then I'm going to need to restock. So, brilliant. Morning. Molly clip.